Welcome back to Fast Freddy RC, and today we're going to do an unboxing video of the brand new Tamiya Squash van. Now I am super stoked to have this in my hands. It wasn't supposed to arrive until Monday. It has shown up today, so this is awesome. And you know, as a lot of you know, I have some real plans for this because I, a couple months ago, talked about the fact that I was going to be getting this for a very specific reason. This was going to be an RC YouTube community van, which I meant. So if you want to find out more about that project, you can go click on this link. There is still some time to send me some stickers for this van. For those of you that have already submitted stickers, there's a little bonus for you with this build. Because again, this is a community build. I can't stress that enough. This is a community build. So for those of you that have sent me stickers, you'll see what I'm talking about as we go along. But I'll leave that as a surprise. Now, one of the other things that's really interesting about this vehicle is that when it first came out, I had all these cool plans that I wanted to do for it for this project. And then the promo video of it came out and it said that the body was pre-painted. Well, it was a bit deflating because I was like, oh, well, okay, I'll make it work. I'll figure out how I'm going to do the custom design in terms of how I was going to place the decals, etc. But what I found out was that's only for the Japanese marketplace. For everywhere else, it comes as a clear body. So I now know that inside here is a clear body, and I can go back to the original design that I wanted to work with in order to create this YouTube project. So I'm stoked on that as well. Now the other thing I'm kind of stoked about too is this is the first time Tamiya has created a new monster truck chassis in a very long time. Now this is definitely based on a chassis that's already out there. There's a number of the GF series. There's a GF-01. I'm sure you've seen ones with the, what is it, the Land Freeder body, I think it is, that's on tracks. They just came out with a new one recently that has tracks. Then there's another version of it that we have the Kong head and the King Yellow, and those ones come on it. But this GF-02 chassis is brand new, and it's for this monster truck. Now, this is a four-wheel drive truck, and it has the two-wheel steering, but it also has the capability of doing four-wheel steering. Now, I'm going to set this up for two-wheel steering. I'm not sure I want the four-wheel steering, but it can be done. I didn't know that until I saw another video that had come out on this. So I think that is too cool. Now, one of the things you might have to be, you need to be aware of is that because this is a chassis that is completely based on a geared drivetrain, if you want to upgrade this to bearings, and I need to tell you, I highly recommend doing that right off the bat. But in doing so, just know that there's almost 36 bearings that are required for this. I think there's 32 of the main bearings that you need for all the way through the chassis, and then there's a couple of others. So this is going to be bearing intensive, but again, I would strongly suggest doing the replacements. So knowing all of that, again, you know, there is still time to submit. I'll put my email here too, so you can find out more about it and just let me know that you're planning on sending me stickers, and then we can exchange info. So there's still a bit of time. But again, for those of you that have already done so, you'll see what I mean as we go along. So I'm gonna stop rambling because I am just so stoked to have this in my hands now. So let's do the unboxing. Okay, well, I have just taken the plastic off of this to make it easier to get into. So let's open this. I'm super excited to open this one, I gotta tell you. Nice. Oh, this is so cool. Okay, so you know what? I'm gonna grab this one first. So here is the body, and I think this is going to look so cool with the plans I have for this. And if you look at this, they've even cut out the wheel wells for you. So, and being that the wheel wells are such a prominent part of this truck, it's nice to see, which means really we've only got some straight lines to cut for the most part all the way around this body. But I just think this is going to look so cool. And I love the back end. You can see where the hinges are going to be on the doors, and I just think that looks just too cool. So there we go. There is our 1950s style body. Love it. I think I've mentioned this once before. We've had our lunchbox, which has been a van. It was the only van body that Tamiya ever put on a car. Now we've got another. So we've got a squash van. That's awesome. And then let's take a look at our tires. I will open this up. This reminds me of my Blackfoot back in the day, because these are the same tires. That is just too cool. And yes, we're gonna do the sniff, and I have to tell you, because these are the Blackfoot tires, I can tell they smell very much like what it was. It takes me back to being 13, 14. Ah, love it. Yep. Okay, that's just too cool. So there we go. There are our tires. So I'll just put that aside right now. And then of course we have our wheels. So the white sort of a directional spoked wheels. That's too cool. Let's see if I can focus in on this a bit there. That's just too cool. Love it. And then of course we have our chassis. So you can see that these two side pieces are huge, going from front to back, and wow, like you can see that all the gears are going to be all the way through this. I mean, that really is just too cool. So those are our main chassis gearboxes. And of course, this is the other reason why I was saying, like, if you want to do this with the ball bearings, do it first. Because with this being two halves together, you're going to have to take apart the entire chassis to put in the ball bearings after the fact. So if you're planning on building this, definitely make sure that you get the bearings first. There's just so many of them, it's not worth waiting. Then we have some more pieces here. You can see here's a front bumper. We've got some shock pieces here. And the kit only comes with friction dampers. So you'll have to replace them with oil-filled shocks, I think, at some point. I'm going to build them with the friction shocks. We've got our body mount posts, a couple other goodies in there I can see. Very cool. And then here, looks like we've got probably a gear cover of some sort right there. And then we've got... What do we have? Some, oh, we've got, look, we've got some of our front end pieces here, and there's some more of our chassis assembly for the wheels. We've got those pieces right there. Yep, so that's cool. And then, oh, well, it looks like it's the same, because obviously the front and back are pretty much the same. So we've got these are our pieces where we're going to put the bearings and the drivetrain, and of course this is going to be all set up for four-wheel steering as well, which we aren't going to do. I'm not going to do the four-wheel steering, but it's there if you want it. And then we have these pieces here. Again, it's kind of cool because it's a brand new chassis, so I don't know what all these pieces are going to end up being for. But it looks like that's probably some type of suspension or shock mount pieces in there. So that's very cool. And, oh, and look at that. We got another one. So, you know, again, front and rear, it's pretty much going to be the same. So it looks like we've got double the amount of pieces there. And then in this bag, we've got all of our key parts here. So let me just open this up. So... let's see. Okay, so here we go. There is bag A. And inside there we've got our that motor mount. We've got some metal pieces. We've got a nice, much bigger piece of, or a much bigger tube of grease, which is great, or at least sounds great, but I know that with it having so many gears, maybe that's not even going to be enough either. So we'll see. I don't know. That's interesting. So that's very cool. So we've got some more gear pieces in there, screws. You can see that there's the pieces for the differential is in there. And of course there's going to be 2 sets of differential as well. And then here, and I mean, look at this. Look at all of the plastic bushings and the metal bushings, the brass bushings. That's a lot. So I definitely, again, highly suggest you replace these with ball bearings. Wow. And then we have bag C, which has a lot of the springs. We've got body pins, we've got a lot of screws, nuts, washers, double-sided tape. We've got some rubber tubing here. Not really sure what that's going to be for either. And we've got some foam tape as well. Some interesting little nut things in there too, which I've not seen before. So that's cool. There's bag C. And then let's see what we got here. Then we've got another bag here, which is going to be for the smaller. Let's see, we've got these step screws. Looks like steering arm pieces right there. We've got axles. So there we've got some dog bone axles there. Very cool. And just some, we've got screws and washers as well. So that bag's separate. It's not even got a letter to it. And then in this one here, we've got bag B, and bag B has this U piece, which I recognize from other chassis where that's going to slide on and hold a number of things together. And then we've got our, what do they call them? The drive cups. So we've got 4 of the drive cups in there. We've got some other pieces, probably the steering arm drive pieces as well. And more dog bones, and these dog bones are silver in color. So you've got the darker dog bones right there, and you've got the bright colored dog bones there. Interesting. So they're 2 different styles. Okay. And then of course, lastly in this bag, we've got our 540 silver can. So it's a standard motor, but you can always upgrade this at a later date. So there's our motor. Now, what's interesting is usually when you see these bags, they're part of what comes in here. So now, what does come in here? So let's slide this off. Should have got my knife for this part. Get it. I wonder what's in this box. Okay, well, we've got this plate. Well, this I know, in the pictures you can see that this is a battery cover that's going to fit on the top. We've got some hex pieces probably for the drive line itself. I don't know what those are, and again we'll find out during the build. So that is part of that box. I'll put that aside over there. Yes, wondered where these were. So here are all of our gears, and wow, there are a lot of them. So again, this is going to end up using quite a bit of grease. So yes, they've given us a bigger tube, but I have to wonder whether it's going to be enough. But that is just too cool. So there we have all of our gears, and we have, oh, well, and there we go. There is another small bag of gears. Wow. So inside of this box, literally it was mostly gears. So there wasn't much in there, but very, very, very cool. So now that we've got all that, we can take a look at, of course, our manual. Now, before I take that quick look at that, let's just go further into here. And for those of you that are going to be getting this and doing the box art, here are all of the stickers. That is too cool. So there's a lot of them, a lot of the trim pieces, and of course this is black, gold, and blue, and you can see that is just too cool. And I love the logo, actually. It's reminiscent of the Midnight Pumpkin. Pump up the good times. So I think that's just too cool. But yeah, there's a lot of trim pieces for this, and you can see there's our grill and the little GF on the front, and then we've got our wipers along the front. So I won't be using any of this on this kit. That's not totally true. I'll probably be using the headlights, but as a whole, this will be a complete custom project for the YouTube community out on YouTube. So this is awesome. This is awesome. So let's now take a look at the manual. So here we go, GF-02. I mean, I've said this many a time, but now this is a brand new one for me. I've not seen this before at all. That this instruction manual, look at all the gears. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like, we've got to end up replacing a lot of those bushings with the bearings, because there's just so much of them. I mean, look at how that ends up being built. Wow. And then you see how the two halves of the chassis go together. Wow. I mean, there's a lot to it. So yeah, this is going to be so cool to put together. And yeah, it's such an interesting design, and there's a fair bit to it. I think the gears really are going to be the one step that's going to take quite a bit of time. And of course, you can see there's the battery and that battery cover that I showed you in that plastic box, and then of course our body, painting it up. So yeah, and of course, well, that's interesting. So here's the instructions if you want to set this up for four-wheel steering. So they've got a lot of extra instructions here depending on how you want to set up this truck, but that's just too cool. So I'm excited to get started on this, and I will be getting started fairly quickly, because it's been, it's a couple of months since I talked about doing this for the YouTube community, and now it's finally here. I can get started on it. So this is awesome. So thank you for going through this with me. I'm excited. Hope you're excited. And please like, subscribe. More videos are on the way. A build series on this is coming up, and we'll see you in another video.